Welcome to your Real Estate Review with Alan Canas of Engel Völkers Silicon Valley, your weekly getaway to the pulsating heart of the global real estate market. Join us as we bring you exclusive interviews with top producing real estate agents from around the globe. Whether you're a buyer, a seller, or just a real estate enthusiast, this is your insider look into the pros, cons, and the captivating allure of the world's most sought after locations. Let's discover where your next dream home awaits. Buckle up for a real estate journey like no other. This is your Real Estate Review with Alan Canas of Engel Völkers Silicon Valley. Hello, Ken, Dara, and Jennifer Ames. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. How are you both doing?
We're great.
We're doing great. Thank you so much for having us here, Alan. We're thrilled.
You're so welcome. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a series of questions, and from there, we will put this podcast out for everyone to enjoy. And so let's just dive right in. Would you start by telling us a bit about your background in real estate and your specific experiences with clients relocating to Marin?
We actually work with a lot of relocation. We got into it. I got into this because of my mother. But at the end of the day, I just like connecting and meeting with people, and being from the East Coast, it really helps when people are relocating from that area, or at least from the Midwest as well, being able to have an understanding of what their wants and needs are and asking the right questions. But the most important thing I think that we bring to the table is we automatically say, once you're here, let's do an area tour. Let's really help you understand the nuance of Marin County, and drive them around, and make them, get them comfortable with where they want to be. And then what we can do from there is we take the macro to the micro look and feel, and kind of help them dial in where they may want to be.
Thank you. And I should have started by saying, Ken and Jennifer, you are the dynamic duo for Marin. And so you're on the same team. And so again, thank you.
And just so people understand, Marin County is just over the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. So literally, we both live in Tiburon, Belvedere, and that's basically about a 15, 20-minute drive into San Francisco. So we're very close.
Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So Jennifer, you want to tell us a little bit about when and why you are in real estate?
Sure. So I got started in 2000, and I had been working in New York City in corporate America. I worked for an international branding company in marketing. And, at the end of the day, it was a rigorous but challenging career, and taught me in my 20s sort of the value of being able to control your own client relationships. So when I moved to the Bay Area from New York, I wanted to find a career where I could, work with people who were like-minded and valued my hard work. And real estate provided some flexibility for me. I was, getting married and had young kids. And at the end of the day, I really value the relationships I have with my clients, and want to be able to provide a certain level of service that I feel like sometimes in corporate America isn't even a possibility. And so, it's a challenge. Real estate is a challenging career, but wonderful. And I think I'm 21 years in the business. Ken, how long have you been a realtor?
Around 23, 24.
Yeah. Right. So we're weather worn at this point. Yeah.
I was going to say you started when you were 10.
Right.
Ken, what are some of the unique features or attractions of Marin that make it an appealing destination for people to relocate, that are looking to relocate to Marin?
That's a great question. I would say the outdoor lifestyle is a huge proponent of why people come to Marin, because we have sailing, we have cycling, mountain biking was invented here on Mount Tam. Gary Fisher was the inventor of mountain biking, and he grew up in actually Belvedere. So the hiking is amazing. A lot of people are out just and about walking, but it also has to do with the weather. So by moving here, you're not saving anything in taxes, but you actually pay the weather tax because the weather is so great. I was just back in Boston in my old hood, And my 13-year-old was like, gosh, I love Boston, but I hate the humidity. And that's one thing we don't have here. It might be hot or it might be cool, but the Bay acts as a natural air conditioner so that things normally stay cool. And so the weather, and that's another big attraction for people to come to Marin County, is the microclimates here in Marin.
And I would just add to that, I think really people are drawn to Marin primarily because it has great schools and we're an easy distance to San Francisco. And, sort of the natural progression of people is to move in from San Francisco into Marin when they sort of, are ready to get out of the city. And we do offer easy access to Napa Valley. You can head over to the East Bay and get some great restaurants. And of course, where we live in Tiburon, you can be in the marina in San Francisco with all of the San Francisco restaurants and nightlife in like 15 minutes. So it's sort of easier living with access to all that the Bay Area has to offer. It's really a great location.
So yeah, the main reason why I moved here was for date night. So I could either go to the East Bay, like she said, or we can go to Napa for dinner, or we can go to San Francisco for date night and have dinner,
Right.
or we could just stay in Marin and have dinner. So you have a plethora of restaurants to choose from, and they're all world class.
What are the migration patterns as to where people are coming from or leaving to? Jennifer, what do you think?
So actually, I pulled the census data, and that is from 2020. The city that has the most incoming residents is San Francisco. The second, I guess not surprisingly, is Los Angeles. So we have a lot of local movement into San Francisco and the Bay Area, but a ton of, and Ken can speak to the East Coast migration as well. But really, the Bay Area tracks any sort of demographic that is moving from Chicago to New York to Boston. Even DC has some good migration into this area. And Ken and I will attest, we have a lot of listings. We're, servicing a lot of sellers that are selling and leaving California. A lot are going to other states, sort of downsizing and retiring. And then actually we have quite a bit of business that is moving overseas. Ken can maybe pick up on some of our clients that are international, but that is an element of our business just by the migration of, people moving out of California when they're ready to retire.
Right. So one of the things that I do for the team, and I just did it in Boston. A lot of agents don't look at their feeder markets, and for Marin County, you have a lot of people that are coming from. So let's start with the East Coast, Boston, Greenwich, Connecticut, or let's just call it Southern Connecticut, Westchester County, New York, DC, Chicago, parts of New Jersey. So it's a rather small group of the Northeast that's coming here. And what's interesting is maybe it is like hedge fund managers that are moving from Greenwich to here, or it's usually finance guys that are coming over. There is a new tech boom that's happening in San Francisco right now, which is going to bring a lot of people in from, I would say, probably Boston and New York. And that's the AI movement that's happening right now, along with the robotics movement. There's a lot of synthetic bio stuff that's happening right now that I think that's also going to be bringing in people. So there's going to be a new wave of, I don't want to call it .com, but there's a new wave of tech coming in. So I think San Francisco is on a trajectory to, come back to its glory days. And the other thing is that she's right. Back on the East Coast, I would say we're finding a lot of grandparents, actually empty nesters, coming out here to be with their kids who have grandchildren, and they can afford to live out here. So that's another big thing that we're seeing with relocation. Jennifer and I have worked with a few families that are in the biotech world or the tech world, and they're actually helping their families, their parents. You would think you hear about the silver tsunami and parents giving money to the kids. Well, not in San Francisco. It's the opposite. The kids are giving money to the parents to move out here and be with the grandchildren and have free babysitting. Well, it's not free because they're paying the kids to come out. Paying the grandparents to come out. So it's an exciting trend to watch. because I do like analytics and I do kind of want to see where people are coming from. But we are seeing that. But the Bay Area is also a very transient neighborhood as well. We have people, like I said, they're coming in for 4 or 5 years doing their job, and then they get promoted, or they decide that they don't want to do it, and they probably go back to where their families are on the East Coast or in Chicago or wherever. But we've had tons of friends that we're still friends with today, but they're not here anymore. So there is a lot of back and forth, and there's a lot of the homes. They buy the homes for 4 or 5 years. They've made great appreciation over the COVID period, and then have left. And that's not just with domestically. We work with a lot of clients that are international. So they're either from Germany, from Spain, from France, and they're either moving. Like we have a client now, we're selling their house. They're from Germany in Mill Valley, but they're going to be moving to Mallorca. We just helped a family from Sausalito, they're empty nesters. They were in Sausalito, beautiful home, and they ended up buying in Lake Como, right across the street from the Bella Vista, was it the Bella Vista Hotel? I'm forgetting the name of it, but great little area in Lake Como. So, what's great about our company is that we have offices in all these great places. So we're able to refer the client to, and they're always in great hands. But that's one of the things that we have going on. The other area, let's talk about the West Coast a little bit. And I don't want to. A lot of people from the Bay Area are now moving between Scottsdale, Jackson Hole. Sun Valley is a huge area where people are considering retiring now and going to, and they'll keep both homes. We're also seeing a lot in Oregon with people going up there. And LA is obviously a huge relocation push, but I see a lot of people coming from LA to here now. I see a lot of people coming from Silicon Valley because they don't like the traffic.
What are some of the challenges or pitfalls that people face when relocating to Marin, and how do you help them navigate these?
That is a very good question. And really, the nice answer to hear is there aren't all that many pitfalls to moving to Marin. The most challenging, I would say, is the price and sort of getting your arms around finding the right fit. The nice thing about Marin is we have a neighborhood and a city for everyone. There are hillside communities, there are communities that have views, there are communities that are very walkable, and it's just a matter of working and finding exactly what the client is looking for, which we do, day in, day out. We help a lot of people identify the right community for them. We sit down, we do a nice buyer consultation, understand and listen to their needs. And we do area tours and really, sort of map out what their plan is and what's going to work for them, because there's lots of options here. Marin is an expensive community, so it is something that, that is a challenge. Taxes also are can be challenging, but really the quality of life, we believe, is unparalleled for somebody who has maybe needs to commute into San Francisco or can work from home part-time. Marin, really just offers such a lovely lifestyle. And so, I think we touched on it before, but the concept of having sort of everything at your fingertips is something that's really also a nice element. We're, close to Silicon Valley, we're close to Napa, we're close to, skiing and Tahoe and the East Bay and all of that the East Bay offers. So, it's a fun community to be able to show new residents around and help them sort of get their arms around it.
That's wonderful.
Right. Jennifer came from the East Bay, so she actually understands it.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, I didn't realize that. For some reason.
I grew up in Louisiana, but lived in the East Bay before Marin. Yes.
So it was Louisiana, East Bay, and then shocking in pricing in Marin.
Yes, that's right. And Marin is, the truth is there's a price point for everyone in Marin. It's just a matter of the community and the distance from San Francisco. I mean, there are $1 million townhomes, and there are, $20 million estates, all within an hour of each other. And they all generally the communities provide good schools and decent healthcare and, a great quality of life. So I would say there is something for everyone. You may get a little more for your money in the East Bay, but the East Bay has some challenges that come with that price point in terms of schooling can be a little challenging in the East Bay. So I think, Alan, your area probably boasts equally good schools and probably boasts equally the high price point. Is that correct?
The Peninsula, Silicon Valley, yes. There's a little bit, there's something for everybody. So
right.
Definitely. But it does boast the good schools. And then the pricing can go all the way up to $100 million estates from a $450,000 condo
Nice.
that we're selling now. So it goes the gamut. How has the real estate market changed in the recent years, particularly with regards to the relocation trends?
I think a couple of years ago, relocation was going gangbusters because there was a lot of money. All the tech was going crazy. People were moving in, Google, Facebook, everybody was hiring. Now everybody's firing. The other piece of it was COVID and the craziness going around where people were coming in and just buying because the interest rates were so low. If you can get an interest rate at 2.8% or 3%, of course, why bother renting when you can just come in and buy?
Yeah.
That's obviously gone. But what I've noticed is we do work with relocation companies in the area locally. And right now, there's not as much going on. They're actually having hiring freezes. So we're not seeing as much relocation coming in from relocation companies. I think a lot of buyers right now are holding off because of the 7% interest rates. So if they're relocating in, they rent first. And then they figure out where they want to be. And then once they figure out where they want to be, then and I think after the election, and I think 25, I am telling people right now that, if you find something, buy it. You can always refi later, because I do think it's going to get a little crazy once interest rates start coming down next year. And I think we're going into a normalized market. I feel that, where we used to be at 5.5 and 6%, I think that's where we'll probably end up next year, maybe the third quarter, who knows. But I still encourage people to, if they have the ability and the opportunity to purchase and get into the market. It's just very difficult to get in at this point. And I think there's great opportunities now because things are sitting.
That's true. The opportunities are definitely there for the right buyer. In what ways do you, as real estate agents, provide a value to someone relocating from another region or state? And how do you differentiate yourselves from other agents in Marin?
So what we do is obviously we have a phone call with them and just kind of find out their wants and needs. We find it essential to do an area tour. So what I'll do is, or what we do is we go, they're in the car with us, hopefully without kids. And we do an area tour of the areas in their price point that we feel would work for them. Especially if they're coming from the East Coast, it's easy because I'm from the East Coast originally. Jennifer's lived on the East Coast. So getting into that mindset helps. Then what I do is, after we do the area tour, I actually have maps from AAA, and we highlight the areas that we went to, and I give it to them so that they can go back and they can have an understanding. The second piece we do is we'll set them up on Real Scout, not just with actives in their price range. We also do solds. So we'll say, okay, we're going to be sending you either 6 months or 3 months, depending on how many solds there are, into the specific areas where they think they like, not the whole thing, just where they think they like after the tour. And then we let that run. And so they might not be ready for 3 months, 6 months, maybe 8 months or a year, but they still receive every Saturday morning with their coffee in their email the solds that happened in those specific areas. And I say, this is a great educational tool to see what's happening and how the market's changing. So are the prices going under? Are they going above? what's happening in the trend. And so I find a lot of them really like that tool because they can actually see what's happening. And then what we do is we set them up on Top Agent as well. And they can actually, we set them up so that they will sign in with a password and they can see the off-market properties that are hitting the market as well. And, everybody likes to know what's happening that, that's not on the market. Everybody can see what's happening in the market. If it's an MLS, who cares? But they do get excited when they say, "Oh, I'm going to get off-market stuff too." That's so cool. So we provide that kind of that kind of white glove service to our buyers coming in, and really kind of handhold them through the process. And if they have questions, we always have. We tell them, just text us or call us if you have specific questions about a property that popped up. And I love the fact they're like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sending this property," because Real Scout has AI in it. So it'll actually write a little blurb that it sounds like it came from me. Right. And so
that's great.
Right. And so they have so I said, "Oh yeah, no, I'm always looking out. We're always like finding stuff." Sometimes I'll just, if I know the client really well, I'll say it's just an automated AI feed it just sends it to you. I said, 9 times out of 10, you'll know about the listing before we know about it because, they're always looking. So when I'm sending the actives, it's always because it's, I send it as ASAP. So it'll go, and sometimes they'll look at their email and see it, and we probably haven't seen it hit the MLS yet. So it's kind of fun. But with the solds, we don't do that. We just, every Saturday morning, they get a collected group of solds, maybe 3 or 4. But anyway, so these are some of the things that we do to kind of handhold our buyers through the process, especially our relocation.
Just to add on to that, Alan, Ken mentioned that we offer white glove service, and really it does extend more than just helping clients relocate and find a property. We have raised our kids here. We know the schools really well. We have relationships with the schools. We offer and can provide advice on, hooking them up with doctors, getting them settled with, our dry cleaner. We really do take white glove service to the next level to make sure that somebody feels like they are moving in to sort of this robust community that we love, and we have people that we want to, help them feel very settled with, once they find their community. And Ken and I know, each area of Marin well enough to be able to guide a buyer in that way. So it is very full service working with Dara Ames group.
Well, we act as a concierge. Literally, we are their concierge because they don't know anything. So we tell them, if you need something or you don't know anything, and then we'll also kind of take it upon ourselves. If we know they have kids, we'll say, "Hey, you should go to Pizza Hacker. It's great. Here's why." Or, go to this restaurant or go to this area, and give them little tips and tricks. But if I know it's a European client, we deal with a lot of European clients coming in as well. We have a lot of Germans coming in. We have a lot of people from Scandinavia, Italy, France. They love coming to the Bay Area and parking money here. But with my European clients, I'll be like, "Hey, you need to go to M&H Bread and Butter. It's the best bread company in the Bay Area. Here's why," because they do like to have their bread in the morning. It's the closest they're going to get to European style bread. So that's the detail of that we get down to with our clients.
Well, and I know both of you very well. You're both connectors. And connecting people to other people and to services, it doesn't stop as soon as the transaction stops. It continues on. Right. And you've built it into a lifestyle of how you conduct business, which is wonderful.
Yes.
How do you see your area evolving in the next few years, and what impact might that have on new residents?
Well, I answered it a little bit before, but how we had the .com boom, then the tech boom. And now that's kind of fading into the sunset. Now the AI boom is happening, the robotics boom is happening, so it's giving new life to San Francisco and Silicon Valley, and we're going to have a whole new group of people coming in and moving here, and hopefully it's the next California gold rush, as we call it. So that's how I see things changing.
I can't wait because I'm in Silicon Valley. I need that boom.
Right? You and Sam Altman need to get together, and he's like the he's the grandfather of AI supposedly. So he's creating this opportunity for a lot of people.
I'm going to ask one last question that you were not sent.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us a favorite story about a client?
I will talk about, Ken mentioned this client before, but it's a fantastic story. We had a couple in Sausalito who sold a beautiful house. Were two retired dentists, had always wanted to move overseas. And they, it was a very challenging sale for their house, which we stuck through and we got it done. And they ended up kind of touring Europe, finding their right place near Lake Como. And, they bought, I want to say, about a year and a half ago. And we, to this day, are all on a WhatsApp text stream where they send us photos from their fabulous vacations. When they go, even on drives, we will wake up in the morning and we see these beautiful European, vacations that they have taken. And it really is sort of the power. It shows the power of the EV brand. It speaks to the nature of sort of, clients that Ken and I really resonate with, because they feel like family at this point. Like we through, even if it's over, photos and video over WhatsApp, they have integrated us into their lives. They are actually now visiting the Bay Area, and I'm going to be out of town, but Ken's going to have the opportunity to go out to dinner with them and actually connect them with some other friends. And it's, that's the level in which we love to work with our clients, where we sort of are woven into their story and help make their dreams happen. And that is, like, in my mind, one of the, best examples of that.
Yeah, we'll stick with this client. That's because wonderful. It goes Great further. Story.
Yeah.
It actually goes further because it has to do with relocation. They actually came, they didn't come to us. They were actually on holiday, still living in Sausalito. They were on holiday in Siracusa, Sicily. They walked by, and they love good modern architecture. So they were drawn to our office in Siracusa. They were sitting in the window, and of course, this one advisor came out and said, "Can I help you?" "Oh, we're considering moving maybe to Sicily. We don't really know yet, but we have a house to sell still in Sausalito, California." She's like, "Oh, could I get your name and information? I would love to refer a colleague of mine," which was me, in Sausalito. And so that's how we actually got them as clients, was through a referral from Siracusa, Sicily, because they were on holiday there. And
what a great story.
Isn't that a great story? And then we referred them to our office in Lake Como.
Ken, Dara, Jennifer, Ames, thank you so much for being on the podcast Real Estate Review with me, your host, Alan Canas of Engel Völkers Silicon Valley. And I cannot wait to have you on the podcast again soon. Hopefully we won't have the glitches, but wonderful information. Great, terrific, wonderful information. I love it.
Awesome.
It was an honor to be on your podcast, Alan. I look forward to seeing many more of them. And anytime you want us to come back, we will come back and make sure that Ken has very good Wi-Fi when we do that.
That sounds great.
Guys. It's always a pleasure, Alan. And we will talk soon. Thank you.
Thank you.